Thank you, Ken. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Thank you for coming to your annual meeting. I feel like one of the luckiest people in the world, and I want to take a moment, even though Wendy asked me not to acknowledge my wife is here. And if you would just give a wave, Wendy, thank you very much. We're a very lucky family. Wendy takes good care of us. And Wendy, without you, I'm not sure where we'd be right now. So thank you. I love you. For a few minutes, I'd like to just talk with you about some of the current activities that we've got going at your cooperative. And I think most of you know that your electric bill is really broken into two primary pieces. One, the distribution side, which is the South Central Power component with the day-to-day activity, the trucks, the poles, the wires, the employees, all of that being governed by the Board of Trustees that you elect. The other piece, a much larger piece, something close to 70% of your electric bill, is the generation and transmission piece. So if we break those into a couple of components, let's just talk a little bit about the distribution side. As Jim just reported, 2013 was a very good year for your cooperative. We finished the year in very good financial shape, and that financial position allowed South Central Power Cooperative to return capital credits in 2013, totaling about $7.5 million. That's very good news. For 2014, we're looking very good as well. It appears to us that the region is continuing to climb out of the recession that we all went through. We're seeing a little bit of growth in the housing, some commercial development, and of course there's a tremendous amount of activity, oil and gas exploration activity on the eastern side of the state, and a lot of those rural areas your cooperative serves. In order to maintain our financial position, we did implement a small rate increase this past spring. This increase was very consistent with what our projections are telling us, that a small increase in the distribution rates will be needed about every 2 to 3 years or so. And by the end of this year, we will have retired close to $8 million in capital credits to current and former members of the cooperative. Also this year, we've been working on an update to our strategic plan. It's likely that the outcomes will be very consistent with how we've operated the cooperative the past 79 years, focusing on reliable service at rates that are fair and equitable. And to accomplish this, of course, we'll need to ensure that our employees will continue to deliver the safe, dependable, and courteous service that you've come to expect. And there's always room for us to improve in that process. By far, as I mentioned, the largest portion of your bill, some 70%, is the generation and transmission component. And I'd like to give you an update about some important developments that are taking place in this area. Since we met last year, the United States Environmental Protection Agency has issued 2 proposed rules that seek to limit the amount of carbon dioxide that new and existing generators emit. And this is a very important issue because almost all of the energy that we deliver to your home or business is made at the Cardinal Station. And although we've made over $1 billion in environmental upgrades at the Cardinal Station during the past 7 years, it is one of the cleanest, most efficient plants in the world. It does use coal to make electricity and therefore emits carbon dioxide. Now, I have serious doubts that either rule is right for the United States, but the President through the EPA has issued these rules, and we must take seriously the fact that they may become the energy policy for the country for the next 30 to 50 years. That's right, the EPA has issued rules that will guide the country's energy policy for the next several decades. Now, I'd like to make one editorial comment, and then I'd like to talk with you a little bit about what we're doing in response to these rules. My editorial comment is having the EPA write energy policy to me, is compared to having the Department of Education publish a farm bill. It just doesn't match up to me. And I think because of that, there's going to be litigation, and it's likely that the rules, if they ever become effective, it will take 3 to 5 years. And in fact, I think 11 states and several other entities have already filed suit against the EPA to stop the rules from becoming effective. But in the meantime, what are we going to be doing about the rules? Of course, we're going to work very closely with our national and state partners to understand the implications of these policies. Our members, you, tell us time after time after time that the two most important things to you are reliability and affordability. And these rules are going to impact both of those priorities. And I'm afraid not in a very positive way. Shutting down more baseload coal-fired power plants will not improve reliability. As we witnessed this past January during the polar vortex, adding more renewable energy and more natural gas plants alone will not improve reliability. Let me take a moment and provide some perspective. The regional grid that we're a part of, which stretches from Chicago on the west to New Jersey on the east, if we were to describe that in terms of this grandstand, and there were 500 people in this grandstand for several hours last January 6th and January 7th, if the equivalent of 2 of you, for any reason, restroom break, to go get ice cream, to get some water, if 2 of you in the grandstand for any reason got up during that 2-hour window, parts of our electric system would have failed and we would have had blackouts. So that's the perspective that I think is very important as we see the challenge if more coal-fired power plants are closed. We need all types of energy throughout this entire region to help maintain a reliable electric grid. How much impact these energy policies will have on the cost of your electricity is anyone's guess. The EPA, in its rulemaking, predicts that the cost for the average consumer in the U.S. will rise about $13 per month. It's expected that prices in states where coal is burned more frequently or in higher amounts to make electricity, like Ohio, that the increases will be much more significant. Our early estimate in working with Buckeye is that over time, the rules will add $40 to $50 per month to your electric bill. Very significant. We will work with Buckeye Power to make sure our concerns for a reliable electric grid and affordability are heard by the EPA and other stakeholders. As I mentioned, we need all types of energy to maintain a reliable grid and affordable prices and to retain our competitive position in the world's marketplace. In addition, we will communicate the implications of these policies to our members and all other stakeholders. We will ask members to stay informed. We will ask members to stay engaged. We will encourage you to be involved. We invite you to submit comments to the EPA. We invite you to fill out the card that was included in your packet. We invite you to enroll in our political action committee, the Consumer Owners for Political Action. As we move forward, we will be closely monitoring how these policies impact the reliability, price volatility, and the cost of electric service. In closing, Mr. Chair, I want to take a moment to thank the Cooperative's employees for everything that they do to keep the lights on and rates affordable. As I mentioned, there's a lot of activity going on behind the scenes, and it's the employees who make it all happen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for coming today.